Well, home stretch here, final two games that will definitely decide our seeding in Fort Worth in their tournament. So at home against Tulane, and then on the road at SMU, then come back and then figure out when we'll be leaving to Fort Worth next week.
Go back to the team in just a second, but this news about being an assistant on the under-18 team, when did you find out? When did you see it?
Was that released today?
Yes.
Oh,
Just
okay.
went out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I had the opportunity to work with USA Basketball one previous time as a court coach in Colorado Springs, and it was a great experience. I remember Jeff Walls was the head coach, Corey Close was the assistant, and Natasha Adair was the other assistant. And they stayed at the Marriott, and Joni Taylor and I were in the dorms. So I hadn't stayed in a dorm for a long time, and but yeah, it's I'm humbled. It's an incredible honor, and to be able to spend time with some of the best young players in the world, and to coach with Terry and it's gonna be fun. So yeah, I found out last year, but kept it. It was really confidential until USA Basketball and their board and their committee approved everything. So yeah, it's an incredible honor for any Division I head coach to be involved with USA Basketball.
Jose, obviously you're involved in your team all year, but when you get a chance to do this, what does it add to you as a coach? What kind of experiences do you think you'll be able to learn there that you can bring back, for the rest of your coaching career because you did this?
Well, yeah, I'm going to be really busy in the spring and summer. I think leading into the Final Four next year in Tampa, assisting the WBCA and Courtney Banghart, who's the president of our Coaches Association. But, I think once the trials happen, and then once you get training camp, and seeing what type of players we're going to have the opportunity to work with, because that team selected, there is a committee that selects that team, and I'm looking forward to getting together with Coach Morin and Coach Ivey and how and their philosophy and their thoughts about style of play and how they're going to play. It's going to be fun, because I think anytime that you can step outside of what you do here, and I think a lot of coaches use the off season to get better, to get your staffs better, to get your players better. So to be able to work with two coaches, one that coaches in the Big Ten, one that coaches in the ACC, that are very successful, you're going to be able to learn and hopefully bring back some things that you can adjust to your style. And then the teams that we will see in America, of course, international basketball is different, and how it's played in FIBA Americas is definitely played differently in FIBA Europe. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Coach, when you talk to a lot of coaches, the hardest thing they say they have to do is cut a player. You're going to be involved in that now. You're going to have to tell somebody, well, you're not good enough to make the national team. How hard is that going to be?
I'm not going to, that's not my job. That's not my job.
Jose, back to your USF team, obviously you've got senior night coming up, which you do every year.
Yeah.
What's your feeling about that, your emotions as, regardless of what your team's doing, you're essentially saying goodbye to some people who have been with you forever. What do you like on that night?
Yeah, all senior nights are different, but because now senior nights are all different all around the country. There's going to be senior nights where you only coach a player 1 year or 2 years.
What is a senior for you?
Right. And I'm sure once this COVID extra year, when that's all over, right, because everybody got an extra year, things are going to change in the landscape of Division I athletics. That's changing every day, right? But it's, I tell our players all the time, the relationship that we're going to have, while you're here is going to definitely be different once you graduate, right? And I think you're going to hopefully the relationships that you have with every one of your 15 student athletes are all different, right? And I've seen relationships grow with former players even stronger once they leave, because they go, you know what, Coach was probably right what he was talking about. I didn't see it then, but I see it now. But to be able to celebrate, Maria, who's been here 5 years, Kate, who, had those couple injuries, that was tough, and she wasn't able to be a part of it. Ariel, who comes in as a transfer and gets so much success coming from Memphis. Ave, who's only been here 1 year, right? The other senior was going to be Sammy, but we're going to get Sammy's going to have another senior night next year, so that's good. But you tell players all the time, the relationships and while you're here academically, athletically, physically, mentally, emotionally, kids grow, right? They come in at 17, 18 years old and they leave at 22, 23, and you would hope that those are going to be meaningful, lasting relationships and not like, all right, I didn't play enough, Coach didn't like me. It's more than just that, right? The playing time aspect or the role on your team aspect. All right, did Coach truly care about me as a student athlete? Did he help me grow as a person? Right? Did he prepare me for life after USF? That's what's really meaningful.
Coach, looking back on the season, what's been the biggest positive and the biggest disappointment?
I think our biggest positive is still yet to be accomplished. And that's going to Dallas and winning the conference tournament.
Coach, it's been pretty obvious all year long that no matter the opponent, it's going to be a close game. About execution at the end, what is the difference right now in the last 5 months of some of these losses? That obviously got to change.
Yeah, well, 7 of our 8 losses, we've led in the fourth quarter in conference play. I think a lot of inexperience and new guys in our program. Literally, we could have on this team, right, the freshman of the year and 2, the newcomer of the year, freshman of the year in Vicky, newcomer of the year in Romy Levy, and probably another newcomer, all newcomer team in Ave. Those 3 guys have only played 29 games at USF. So they've only been in our system for 6 months, and that's no excuse. They're very good basketball players, but I think, the really, really good teams all around the country and the ones that we've had here get the necessary stops down the stretch. Really, really good teams, when you need a basket, go get a basket. And we've struggled in some of those things, especially the last 8-9 minutes of games, because we've been good enough to win a lot of those. But I said it from the very beginning when we lost Kate and we lost Sammy. No one was going to feel sorry for us. But we got to find ways to be better. Be better down the stretch in games, free throw wise, coming out of timeout, special situations that comes over. And I think the way that you avoid that, where you're not in those tight games where possession 1, 20, 45, and 74 are all valued the same way. And that's what this team hasn't been able to do, And when we win and when we lose, it's a team thing. It's a staff thing, and that falls on me first and foremost. In regards to recruiting, in regards to player development, in regards to preparation, in regards to execution.
Jose, when we talk at this time of the year seems like for a decade or more, we're mostly talking about seedings and positioning, different dynamic now, where you're fighting for your lives.
Yeah.
Are there different dynamics as a coach in play for you now, different buttons to push or different ways to talk about the urgency of the situation with your players?
I mean, right now your focus is on playing well your final home game of the year against Tulane. And then finishing off the season at SMU. Trust me, there was a lot of first. This team accomplished a lot of first in not in a positive way in regards to how we haven't protected our home floor, and a lot of the teams that we've lost to that we've had a lot of success against in the past. So, what that blank banner is going to say in that practice gym, what's it going to say? Are you going to be the team that did not do what you needed to be done? And, we'll deal with that at the end of the year, but this team still has the ability to finish on a great note and go to Dallas and win 3 games in 3 days or 4 in 4 days, whatever we need to do, and go to the NCAA tournament.
What is at the beginning of the year, one of the biggest things was obviously the new faces that
Yeah.
How have you kind of seen the relationships on the team? How have you seen the bonds form and things like that?
Yeah, I think with the adversity that we've had and us losing games, I think we've continued to prepare and play hard and compete. So I'm proud of that.
But Romy has really come on in the second half of the season as a scorer. Is it a thing now where, as she goes, that determines a lot of what you do because of the kind of the increased role that she's taken on?
I think we just need more balance. And when you're good, and we've been very good, you have very good balance. You have 3-4 guys in double figures, right? You defend well. If you look, I think we're look at our conference statistics, right? We're number 1 in scoring defense. I think we're number 1 or 2 in defensive rebounds. We're 1 or 2 in free throw percentage. Where I think we're 3rd in defensive field goal percentage. So, as far as scouting and preparing, we've done a good job. It's the offensive end where we've really struggled. For us to be good, Romy and Vicky have to score. And then we need Carla and Danny to be somewhere around 15 to 18, and we need Ave to play well and be close to double figures. That's where we struggle.
Is it fair to say that we haven't really seen Romy and Vicky do it the same night?
They have, and
consistently?
you look at our losses, and look at that interiorly, and both of them, one plays well, the other one doesn't, and what I mean by playing well, you can't score 25 and give up 14 or 15, right? But again, those 2 guys are new to our program. They're going to be very, very good. And I'm glad that they will have the summer within our program to get better for the future.